Good afternoon. So we'll start our afternoon session. So this afternoon, instead of Norman doing the presentation on the drugs and crime, he's going to be doing presentation on prescription drugs and opioids, right? Yeah. So that's what he's going to do this afternoon. So let's welcome Norman McLean. Oh, Norman McLean. Norman Charding. Do you want to use this or that one? Oma?
Yes, good afternoon. So we're going to be doing a presentation. I was going to do a presentation on crime and drugs, but quite a bit of people were asking about prescription pills. I know, again, all these drugs, prescription pills, that's a big problem. Like I said, it's happening all over. And I was saying that my wife was taking the bus to work, and she would pass by Main Street there, and she would always see all these people lined up. And she asked me, what are they giving? Are they giving something for free there? So I told her, no, they're getting prescription pills. So that's what we're going to be looking at. So addictions, not just prescription pills, but addictions, different kind of addictions. So hopefully you'll enjoy it. Look. Always come up with these new things. So I just want to try to update you as much as I can because it's going to be in your community sooner or later. So if you already know what it is, then it's better to know these drugs. So we're going to be looking at addictions, different kind of medications, and hopefully you'll enjoy the presentation. So types of addictions. Drug addiction. Prescription drugs. Alcohol addiction. Of course, nicotine addiction. Gambling addiction. And as I said, please keep in mind, First Nation people are not the only people that have these addictions, like gambling addiction. White people have that too. So nicotine, alcohol, prescription pills, drug addiction. So we're going to be looking at different kinds of drugs. That's including prescription pills. Drug addiction, also called substance use disorder, is dependent on a legal or illegal drug medication. These medications were intended to be used legally, but of course somewhere along the line, people began to abuse them. Percocet. So Percocet contains 5 milligrams of oxycontin. This drug interacts with specific opioid receptors, like receptors in the brain, and provides feeling of pain, relaxation, and euphoria, meaning gives you a happy feeling. The drug in Tylenol. Percocet also contains acid impingement. The drug in Tylenol, Percocet can cause liver damage. If you take a lot of it, Percocet contains a stronger opioid ingredient than Tylenol 3. So I don't know if you can see the screen. That's what they look like. That's what Percocet looks like. Can you see the screen? So that's what they look like. And people get hooked on these Percocets. Like, they have street names for them. They don't just call them Percocets. They have all kinds of street names. Perks is one of them. One of the names I heard. All right. Oh, Gabby is my favorite. Gabby Patton. There's a lot of people selling these. And these are like muscle relaxers. But let's read what they're used for. This medicine is used to help manage certain epileptic seizures. It is also used to relieve pain for some conditions such as shingles. So, Gabbies, they're used for people who have seizures. Like I said, they're a muscle relaxer. A lot of people sell these Gabbies. Sometimes because I live in a city, but sometimes people will come up to me and they'll ask if I want to buy Gabbies. And I usually joke with them because I know how they work, and I usually tell them, well, thank you very much, but I never have any seizures, Yeah, so a lot of people, unfortunately, they sell Gabbies on the street. And again, this is where it becomes dangerous when people sell medication on the street, because as we learned yesterday, a lot of this stuff is mixed in with fentanyl now, and the capsules. You never know what's in the capsule when somebody's selling street drugs. You never know what's in the capsule. So that's what Gabbies look like. They have numbers on them, ZE72 or SG177. And of course the capsule has 666. But they come in many forms, not just that form, but there was too many for me to list. But that's how they look. Just so you have an idea what they look like. So, Gabbies, it's for dizziness, drowsiness, are common side effects. Dizziness and drowsiness are common side effects. Some other possible side effects include weight gain and trouble with movement. Gabapentin can produce feelings of relaxation, calmness, and euphoria. That's what I was talking about. They're like muscle relaxers. So after taking them, You can feel relaxed, you can feel calm and happy. It is also known how it works to treat restless leg syndrome. So again, that's how the pills look. Gabbies look like. Just so you kind of have an idea what they look like. Oh, my favorite, Valiums. Diazepam is used to treat anxiety, alcohol withdrawals, and seizures. It is also used to relieve muscle spasms and provide sedation before medical procedures. Diazepam works by calming the brain and nerves. Diazepam belongs to a class of drugs known as I call them benzos. It's a big family, like, diazepam, they have a lot of different, I call them the PAM family. That's what I call them. So that's what they look like. They come in many forms. As you can see, they come in many, many forms. Diazepams. They come in capsules. So they don't only, sometimes they come in small pills. So any questions? Oh, Tylenol 3. Another big one. Tylenol 3 with codeine is a combination medicine used to relieve moderate to severe pain. Misuse of Tylenol 3 can cause addiction, overdose, or even death. It can also cause liver or kidney damage. Codeine breaks down rapidly in the liver and it reaches higher than normal levels in the body. Tylenol 3 can also cause life-threatening withdrawal symptoms in newborns. Unfortunately, I went to visit probably about 5 people in the hospital, clients. They had liver damage. And again, unfortunately, a couple of them, I think three passed away from liver failure caused by Tylenol 3. I'll tell you a sad story. There was, again, non-native. This is a non-native person. A beautiful girl. She used to come into my office. She got into some kind of trouble, so she had to take counseling. So she came in my office, and we talked about Tylenol 3. And she told me, well, I like taking them. So I told her all the things that will happen to her if she keeps on taking them. Because she was taking them by the bottle. So she said, well, why do doctors make them? Well, I said, what does your prescription say? I said, does it say you have to take a bottle or 1 or 2 a day? And then he said, it says for me to take 1 in the morning and 1 lunchtime and 1 in the evening. And I said, how much you take? He said, about half a bottle. Anyway, I lost her. And her mother came to see me about 3 weeks later. He said she's in a hospital. She she wants to see you. So I went to see her. You know, a beautiful girl. I think she was about 35. And all these tubes are in her nose, in her mouth. And like she was slim before, small. But at the hospital, she had this big stomach. And I asked her, Mom, what's underneath the blanket? She said, nothing. She said, that's her stomach. And then she knew that I was there. Then she kind of turned, because she had all these tubes in her nose, in her mouth. And then she tells me, hey, she said, but she could hardly talk. She was whispering, because she had a tube in her mouth. She said, I remember what you told me. She said, I remember what you told me. Now I'm going to die. You know, I didn't know what to tell her. It really did something to me. I didn't have any words. You know, I can't say, oh, you're going to get better. That's what she said. I remember what you told me. Now I'm going to die. And then she died. 3 weeks later, she died. Yeah. But that's what Tylenol 3s look like. Some of them have Tylenol 3 written on them. And this was Tylenol, and it has a number here, 32B or something. I can't see it. But Tylenol, that's what they look like. I just included those pills there, like, you know, in case you ever come across them, you know, in your home or something, because we never know what our kids take. Oh, this is an interesting one. Molly. This is very interesting. So 9 things people should know about the drug Molly. Molly is different from compared to other medication. This is a lot different. Let's see why. Someone who buys or ingesting dangerous synthetic drugs that have been tested and are produced in wildly varying strength, 13% of Molly seized the past years actually contain any MDMA, and even then it often was mixed with other drugs. That MDMA, that's ecstasy. That's a drug ecstasy. MDMA, that's a drug ecstasy. Ecstasy. MDMA stands for ecstasy. Oh, MDMA? I don't remember. Let's go on, and it has a long word. I do remember it. It has a long word, long fancy word. What does Molly do? Molly mimics the effects of ecstasy. Most of them are central nervous system stimulants that cause euphoric highs. So it mimics the effects of ecstasy. So Molly can also cause rapid heartbeat, high blood pressure, blood vessel constrictions and sweating, and can prevent the body from regulating temperature. It has panic attacks, psychosis, and seizures. So who is using Molly? So Molly is being marketed to first-time drug users who may think they are getting ecstasy, Molly. So what they usually do is, like I said, I got a lot of my information when I was working in a treatment center. And these are people that take these drugs firsthand. And you learn a lot from them because they tell you. Now when they're in treatment, then they tell you exactly what's happening out there. So what they told me is they have all these pills in a bowl, in a big bowl. And then they go and take these pills in that big bowl. They take handfuls. And like I said, they don't know what they're taking, right? Because they're taking all these pills. So that's what these pills look like. They come in many, many forms. Molly. They don't just come in one form, but they come in many, many forms. And you're probably wondering about these skeleton heads. They have pill machines. Interesting, eh? So this is Molly here, all these pills. So Molly can take many different forms, although it's often found in a capsule or powder. I'm always leery about capsules, because you never know what these people will put in there. You never know what they'll put in a capsule. The DEA also seen Molly applied to blotting paper, like blotting paper, that's like almost like see-through paper, like very thin, it's like a cloth, blotting paper. You can almost see through it. So like LSD and its injectable form, LSD belongs to a group of drugs known as psychedelics. LSD is commonly used for anxiety, depression, PTSD. So you probably heard about the drug LSD, eh? It's been around for a long time. And a lot of people back in the 70s were taking LSD. So that's what it is. That's what it's used for, anxiety, depression, and PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. So what makes Molly so dangerous? Molly is dangerous because of the toxic mix of unknown chemicals. Users have no idea what they are taking or what dose. Unlike MDA, MA, and other illegal drugs that have been known effects on the body, the formula of these synthetic drugs keep changing, and their manufacturers have no regard for human life or how they affect people. So people are playing Russian roulette every time they use these compounds. Compounds meaning all these different pills. And the next page, they're manufactured in China, and people can order them online. So here's where do the chemics come from? So again, this is what we were talking about yesterday. Laboratories in China. I'm not trying to blame everything on the Chinese, but a lot of the drugs that we get come from China, like fentanyl and all that. Opioids, different kind of opioids, it's coming from China. So almost all chemicals in Molly and other drugs come from laboratories in China. Chinese chemists sell drugs online, and middlemen in Canada and around the world cut it with other substances and either place it in capsules or sell it in powder. So again, capsules, it could be dangerous. You never know what's in the capsule because anybody can remove the capsule and put something in there, put it back together, right? Powder. You never know what's in that powder. It could be mixed with something. So there's a lot of things to think about. And this is Molly, the drug Molly. Other kind of drugs can be sprayed onto plants and smoked, such as marijuana. Other kinds of drugs can be sprayed onto plants and smoked, such as marijuana. Interesting. So how widespread is the problem? So again, Molly is the fastest emerging drug problem in Canada. In the drug trade, which now includes Molly. Did anybody ever hear of Molly here? So that's what it is. This is what it is. Next time somebody talks about Molly, you'll have a better picture what it is, where it came from, how it's made. Again, I think that this is going to be a real bigger problem because they keep on changing the chemicals. Every time the government makes one illegal, then they change the formula a little bit to make it a controlled substance. So Molly is the fastest emerging drug problem in Canada in the drug trade, which now includes Molly. The chemicals in Molly have been found in every city in Canada. The chemicals in Molly have been found in every city in Canada. So what is being done about Molly? Why can't the government just make it illegal? That's what I just mentioned. There are hundreds of compounds, and every time the government makes one illegal, chemists alter the formula to make it illegal. They change the formula a little bit. As I was saying, organized crime. They're smart. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing, but at the same time, they're killing people, right? They're hurting people. So some of the stuff, how to tell someone has used Molly. So again, that's kind of a hard question. The effects can vary widely depending on the chemical, but while users are under the influence, they may exhibit the following symptoms: sweating, jaw clenching, violent or bizarre behavior, and psychosis. So after the drug has worn off, a user may show signs of depression or may not be able to get out of bed for an extended period of time. So again, after the drug has worn off, a user may be able to get out of bed for an extended period of time. So that's 9 things that you should know about Molly. And like I said, this drug is very hard to detect because it comes in many, many forms. Just if you think, well, this is not part of Molly, because it comes in many forms. You know, I think that probably the only person that would tell is the labs, you know, what this drug is, because it comes in many, many forms. You know, doesn't, where's my picture again? Right there. All those pills there. They're all different, you see them? They're all different, but they're the same one. That's Molly, all the same pills. This is Molly, that's different again. This is Molly here. But again, that's different. So I probably wouldn't even tell the difference if somebody showed me these pills. I probably wouldn't tell, like, you know, if that's Molly or not, because it comes in many, many forms. So that's it about Molly. We'll move on. Alcohol use disorder. You know, my brother was an alcoholic, and I was going to tell this yesterday when my colleague was talking about alcohol. My brother was an alcoholic, and I used to go and see him all the time. I liked to visit him. And then I used to ask him, I used to talk to him, and you know how alcoholic people live, eh? Their windows are broken, walls are broken, the floors are dirty, couch is broken. Like you've all seen it, right? You know, no food in the fridge. But that's how my brother lived. You know, the windows are broken, no sheets on the bed. So I used to point out these things to him. Hey, look what alcohol is doing to you. Then he used to laugh. And then he said, I like drinking. But look what it's doing to you. He had plastic on the window. So I used to tease him. But he used to laugh. Like, and I used to tease him, say things to him. Or I would sit on the couch. Of course, one leg is broken, so of course I would pretend, you know, even more to sit and of course he didn't live from this place. So he used to tell me, go and steal food from Mom. So I used to go to my mom's, and I used to go and make breakfast for him or something, or a sandwich, take it to him. And then, so I went to see him all the time. So I used to remind him, hey, look what alcohol is doing to you. So one day he came to my mom's place. He said, hey, I quit drinking today. But we heard that before. So I just laughed at him. So come Thursday, Friday, he didn't drink. He was sober. Again the next week, and the next week, and he quit drinking. So I asked him, why did you quit drinking? And then he told me one day I woke up and I sat down and I noticed the windows were broken. He said, he lived there, right? And then he said, I noticed the walls were broken. And before, he never saw them. And then I guess he looked on the floor, and there's a little path on the floor. That's how dirty it was. I went to open the fridge. He said, there's nothing in there but beer. So he took all the beer, went and smashed it outside. So that's how he quit drinking. He woke up one day and he realized what alcohol was doing to him. So alcohol use disorder, which includes a level that's sometimes called alcoholism, is a pattern of alcohol use that involves problems. Controlling your drinking is being preoccupied with alcohol, continuing to use alcohol even when it causes problems. Having to drink more to get the effect, or having withdrawal symptoms when you rapidly decrease or stop drinking. Any comments or questions about alcohol? Or even Molly? Nicotine. How many people smoke here? So maybe we'll skip this one. Just kidding. Nicotine dependence, also called tobacco dependence, is an addiction to tobacco producers caused by the drug nicotine. Nicotine dependent means you can't stop using the substance even though it's causing you harm. So, there's been a lot of studies on tobacco, not to scare you or anything, but cancer, a lot of people, sometimes they develop cancer. Like I said, not to scare you or anything, but nicotine dependence. I know sometimes people, they get kind of grouchy when they don't have a smoke until they get a smoke, right? I never smoked, so I don't know, but my brother smoked, and he used to tell me, hey, buy me cigarettes. Then I would always tell him, you know what, I didn't teach you to smoke. He used to get mad at me. Oh, good one. Compulsive gambling. Hey, how many gamblers do we have here? Oh, we just got one. We got one gambler. Oh, bingo players. Well, that's gambling. How many bingo players do we have here? 1, 2, 3. My brother was a bingo player too. He was a smoker, bingo player, you name it. Anyway, compulsive gambling. Oh, slot machines. Do you have any slot machines here? Yeah, that's a good one, slot machines. I put a little picture here, you see? She has a halo there. Gambling addiction. Again, as I said, sometimes I go to the casino too. I go and play once in a while. But I'm cheap. I only bet like 20 cents. I never bet at $1. I go and play that Keno once in a while. Now I'm in denial, right? Once in a while I go and play. I'll probably go Saturday because my wife's birthday on Saturday. She's 26 years younger. Just kidding. So compulsive gambling, also called gambling disorder, is the uncontrolled urge to keep gambling. Despite the toll it takes on your life, gambling means that you're willing to risk something you value in the hope of getting something or even greater value. We're talking about bingo a little while ago. My brother, like I said, he was a funny guy. He called me. He went to bingo. Then I guess he won the jackpot, like $1,500. Boy, I said, I won the jackpot, $1,500. Oh, I said, go to sleep. No, he said, I'm going to go to Club Regent, the casino, eh? Boy, I said, go to sleep. No, I'm going to the casino. So he went to the casino. About 3 o'clock in the morning, my phone rings. Boy, I could hear somebody crying. I said, hello, who's this? I said. And then the first word he says is, but he's crying, eh? I need help. I said, what happened? I lost all my money, he said, at the casino. Oh, that's good, I said, and I hung up on him. That was mean to him. Yeah, so I guess he went and lost all his bingo money at the casino. So that does happen to people, So that's it, references. These are my references. This is where I get my information. So the information that you have, like I said, I didn't make it up. None of this stuff. I do research and to properly try and explain how these things work. All right, so we'll take a break and we'll continue at 2:15. We'll continue. I think we might have time for the new drug, or we can have a discussion on drugs maybe. All right, so we'll take a 15 or 20-minute break. Thank you.
I'm sore. So 15 minutes. Be back in 15 minutes. What time is it, Norman? What's that? 2 o'clock, so you'll start at 2:15? Okay, 2:15. So you're gonna continue using? Are you gonna continue using this?
Oh, thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm sorry. These guys are telling stories, so sorry for being late, running late this afternoon. But anyways, he's gonna continue doing his presentation, Norman, and we'll have sharing after you're done, Norman?
Yeah.
We'll be sharing after he's done, okay? Okay.
Okay, we're going to look at Purple Down real quick because we're going to have some sharing after I'm finished. So I won't be long. We're going to be looking at Purple Down again. As I was saying, all these drugs, if you ever come across them, at least you'll know what they look like or what it is, Purple Down. It's a new drug in Winnipeg again. Mixed with heroin and fentanyl. So they call it Purple Down. And we'll see, let's learn how, how it came about. How did they make Purple Down and why they made it? So again, it says, don't play Russian roulette with your life. You know how Russian roulette works, and they put a bullet in a chamber, they spin it, and sometimes they pull the trigger. So they're playing Russian roulette. So don't play Russian roulette with your life. New drug on the streets. On the streets it's called Down, sometimes purple or yellow. It has many names for a dangerous mix of fentanyl and heroin that has taken a hold among users in Winnipeg and Northern Ontario. A tiny bag can cost $30. A hit can come as cheap as $5, along with the risk of death. You know, I was telling my nephew, because he likes to drink and he likes to do drugs. So I told him, hey, I said, whatever you do, I said, don't take Purple Down. And I said, they call it Down too. I said, don't take Down. Oh, no, I won't, he said. You know, that night, he overdosed on Purple Down. That same night, he overdosed on that. You know, I felt so bad because, you know, maybe I could have told him more. I don't know. Like, you know, maybe I could have said more. But that's what he overdosed on, Down, during this COVID-19 pandemic. The deadly drug is quickly taking over meth as one of the most popular street drugs as meth supplies run out. This is during the COVID-19 pandemic. During the COVID-19 pandemic, meth supplies were running out. Did you know that? Meth supplies were running out. So, as meth supplies run out, trafficking routes are cut off due to COVID-19 border closures, and police are making significant meth seizures. As we all know, there was border closures, you know, probably here too, right? They probably had security, and I know in my community they had security, and plus I didn't go any place during the pandemic. I never went any place. Sometimes, even when you go to Walmart, you had to go in by yourself. You couldn't go with your wife, or she couldn't go with me. If she went to the superstore, I couldn't go with her. So they started making heroin, mixing it with fentanyl. So the facts The Canadian Institute of Health Information says was an 80% increase in opioid deaths in the country during the first 6 months of the pandemic. This was due to this drug, Purple Down. Again, over a year ago, they were warning people about this drug in Winnipeg. And at first, they didn't know what was mixed in there. And then they found out it was mixed with fentanyl. Purple Down, that's what it's called, Down, or sometimes it's called Down. I'm sure by now it has different names, street names. I'm sure that they have different street names for it already. So the street names, they keep on changing. But just be aware of that. Like, they don't only call it Down, they call it Yellow. So the street names keep on changing. So if you hear another name, again, they keep on changing the names on these drugs due to, police listening on somebody, because sometimes police listen on some phone calls, right? They try to catch drug dealers, so they keep on changing the names, they keep on having codes for them. The increase in overdoses in Winnipeg over the last 15 months can be attributed to Purple Down. So again, my sister's granddaughter died, before Christmas, and she said that she overdosed. So what I told her was, I said, I bet you fentanyl. Oh, she says, oh, no, she didn't take that. I said, how would you know? So there was an autopsy about a month later, they didn't release the body right away because she was found in a house dead. So a month later, the body was released, and the report, coroner's report, fentanyl. So I don't exactly know what kind of drug she was taking, but this drug is pretty popular in Winnipeg. Purple Down, or some people call it Down. I'm just telling you about these drugs. Someday when you come across them, then it'll click, that you'll know what they are. Just to educate you on some of these drugs. So when you do come across them sometimes, or if you find them, then you'll know. Purple Down, for those who are generally living in poverty and are out there, have moved to the next level, drug of choice, which has become fentanyl and heroin, essentially. A very, very dangerous brew. It's playing Russian roulette with their life, new synthetic drug leading to more overdoses during pandemic in Winnipeg. This is during the pandemic times in Winnipeg. There was a lot of overdoses. People were just dying every night, and that the authorities were trying to track down who was supplying this new drug, Purple Down, or called Down. Is there any questions? This opioid works by targeting opioid receptors, like receptors in the brain, and changing how the brain and nervous system responds to pain. Illicit fentanyl is usually found to be much more dangerous than prescription fentanyl. Like prescription fentanyl, I was saying, fentanyl was made to be used in the hospital, right? So that's why fentanyl was made in 1959, to be used in the hospital. But someplace along the line, organized crime, they got a hold of fentanyl. So now it's made in China legally, and it's shipped to Canada, smuggled to Canada, and it's kind of getting like out of control. Street fentanyl. Street fentanyl, like where prescription fentanyl, like in the fentanyl used in a hospital, of course they monitor you, right? Doctors, these are doctors, they monitor you, so you'll never overdose because you're wearing all these things. Like I said, I had an operation, and that's what they use on me, fentanyl. My wife is a nurse, and she was in the operating room, and she told me, count to 10, and I only was no. So again, that's what happens to these people. Like, they take fentanyl by accident, and in 15 minutes, 20 minutes, they're gone. Unfortunately, they expire. Sad. So illicit fentanyl usually found to be much more dangerous than prescription fentanyl. Oftentimes, people who are producing this opioid mix it with other drugs such as heroin or cocaine. Again, you see, they mix it with heroin or cocaine. Some people do want to believe that. People, oh, no, they wouldn't do that. It's all about money, right? It's a money thing. They don't care how many children these people have or who your mom and dad are. They don't care. It's all about money. So they mix it with cocaine. And some people say, oh, I only took cocaine. Meanwhile, it was mixed with fentanyl. So mixing these drugs together increases the euphoric effects and feeling of fentanyl, and therefore increases its danger. I know we've heard about fentanyl the last few days. That's because they're mixing fentanyl with everything now, even street marijuana, not the medical marijuana like they sell in the stores, not that. We're talking about street drugs, street marijuana, the black market. They're mixing fentanyl in there, and it's overdosing people. Sometimes, like I said, a gentleman died in my hometown, and when the police went to see the common law, she said, well, he only took T3s, but he used to take T3s by the bunch, right? So they asked her, where's it T3s? Do you have any more? And then she said, yeah. And then she gave them that bottle. They got it from Winnipeg on the street. So those T3s were tested. Sure enough, there was fentanyl in there. That's what killed them, And these are good people. These are very good people. I knew that gentleman. I used to play baseball with him. I know him really good. And thank you. These are all good people. I'm not saying they're bad people, but sometimes they choose to do things like my nephew. My nephew was good. My sister's granddaughter, these are good people. My sister's granddaughter, when she was a little girl, I used to tease her all the time. And as a teenager, sometimes I would give her money. And all of a sudden, I think she was 22 years old. And, she took a drug, and then, it killed her. It's sad. I lost loved ones too, and I keep telling everybody, my relatives, don't do drugs. And people have choices. I know there's peer pressure. I was 16 years old, 17, when I started playing nightclubs, and I would get my beer free. And that's not what I wanted. I didn't want to be an alcoholic. So I choose not to drink. Later on, I did drink for a couple of years, but I felt that that's not what I wanted. People have choices. What you want to be. Even if you're young, you have a choice. So drugs, young people, for those of you who are listening, don't do drugs. There's much more to do out there. Don't do drugs. They'll hurt you. They'll kill you. Somebody was talking about sniffing here, and I counsel sniffers too, and I learned, when they sniff propane that they have, it kills the muscles on your legs, so they go around walking like this, like old people, and these are young people. So propane, again, it's they do all these silly things that hurt them. And again, this purple down, young people that are listening, please listen. Don't do drugs. They will hurt you. They will kill you. So oftentimes, people who are producing this opioid mix it with other drugs such as heroin or cocaine. See, these are people making it. These are not scientists. These are regular people like you and me. These are just people probably with no education. They're just mixing the thing any old way, and that's it. They don't care for human life. Mixing these drugs together increases the euphoric effects and feeling of fentanyl, and therefore increases its danger. Many individuals buying this illicit fentanyl do not know that it has been mixed with other drugs and are therefore unaware of the increased danger to their body. Symptoms of drug overdose. The drug overdose, skin tone, bluish purple, cold sweaty skin or hot dry skin, abnormal pain, nausea, vomiting, and or diarrhea. Vomiting, just so you know, we have a really good body, like a defense system. We have a really good body. So whenever there's poisoning in your body, for example, overdosing or your body, then people vomit. And why do people vomit? Because your body knows it's been poisoned, so it's trying to bring out the poison. Look, think about it. That's a poison coming out, or your body knows that there's something wrong, so it's the poison coming out. For example, alcohol poisoning. We're going to be talking about that tomorrow. People vomit, they say, I'm hungover, and people vomit. But actually, that's a poison coming out, the poison is coming out of your body. Did you know that? So, that's what happens, vomiting. Oh no, diarrhea. Diarrhea is another thing, your body knows something is wrong, or like food poisoning, right? It's a good example. Food poisoning, and people have diarrhea. So it's food poisoning. So your body knows something is wrong, right? Like our body is smart like your liver. Your liver will heal itself. Sleepiness, confusion, or coma. Pupils contrast and appear small. Problematic vital signs. So if your loved ones are showing these symptoms and signs, call 911. So this is a quick overview of Purple Down. And hopefully that you caught something here, you'll catch something here. But this is just to tell you a little bit about Purple Down. Maybe if I come back, I do have a longer version about Purple Down, but we're going to be leaving the floor open for any comments, if anybody has any questions or comments. So that concludes Purple Down for now. Maybe sometime when I come back, if you want to hear more about Purple Down, I will explain more in detail about Purple Down. All right, so.
Oops, sorry. Anybody have want to share or have any questions? You're gonna share.
Hello, I'm Tammy Osborne. Do I stand up, bro? I was talking to Lucy in the hallway and I vented because I just got back from Winnipeg and I just finished doing all of these things. Well, not all of them, but some of these things that this guy is talking about. What's your name? Sorry? Norman. Nice to meet you, Norman. And thank you for coming to Norway House. And I'm glad I'm here today because it was pretty bad before I left. But I wrote down. I had a hard time writing it. That's what I was doing, just writing about my experience in Winnipeg. And some is good, and some is bad, and some is sad, and what if so the stuff he says is true, and like I'm not a chemist or anything, even I took biology, so that part I kind of understood, but not the like the making of drugs, but it's not good. It does a toll. It does a major toll on your body for sure, and that's one of the reasons why I came home, because it took. I've been home now from February 17th, and it'll be the 17th sober, like a whole month for me. So I'm very proud of myself. I thank you. So my road was a hectic one, an angry one, and a vengeful one, and I took it inward. I took it out on myself, basically, because I had to figure out on my own what happened to me, right? And that part I have to go for counseling for. So, but the drugs I used very much as a coping mechanism, they call it, to stop feeling pain physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. I wanted to stop feeling, and I tried drinking. Drinking did not help. I was suffering from a broken heart because my kids were gone, and that did not help, made it worse. So then I found crack. Crack just made everything even more worse because you're broke. You're broke and you're wondering where you're going to get the next $20. And then and your friends are like being cheap, and you're like, okay, well, okay. And then I found meth, and meth was cheap. It was there, and everybody was sharing it, and it helped with my broken heart. So, and then what meth did was cut all cravings, even smoking a cigarette. I almost quit smoking cigarettes. Can you believe it? But that's what it does. It kills every craving if you're an alcoholic, you will not want to drink, not even water. You'll dehydrate your body to the point of death. Because I seen my friends go through that, and yeah, like they'll die from not eating or drinking. That's how deadly it could be if you don't know how to take care of yourself, or if somebody doesn't teach you the right way of living with this drug, surviving on this drug, and just surviving daily on this drug. It's amazing. I'm surprised I'm here. You know what I'm saying? And I thank God for that, because my kids, two of my kids, they don't have dads, so I'm their only parent. And the other one walked away, so we tried finding him, no response. And he's just on the next reserve, no response. So basically, yeah, it was frustrating, and it was hard, and get somebody to listen to me was even harder. So that's why I stayed away so long. But anyways, I wrote some stuff down, and I'm just gonna say this fast. I met some friends eventually. They had taken me under their wing. I called them my earth angels, but I also met my boyfriend, my partner that I had stayed with for 2 years. I eventually slowly ended up wandering the streets, but wandering the streets, but there was a safe spot, and that was Sherbrooke and Portage bus shelters, and I know some of you may have seen me sitting there, but during the winter, and to be safe, to see if we were all back at that same spot, your friends. And there is some family members there too as well that are still stuck there in the same spot, same routine, and that breaks my heart, because I had to leave them. And sorry. And we would meet here to see if we were okay, ask if we knew where the other person was, but also to do drugs and sell items that we had acquired while we had gone for our walks, pushing carts, trading and selling of our merchandises. And this I had been doing to survive. And my first winter, I froze my big toe, and I almost lost it, but I still can't feel or move it. But my other friend lost their fingers, their toes, even their lives, and I'm lucky, but at the same time saddened by my other friends who suffered, lost limbs and toes and fingers and nails and ears and nose, skin frostbites. Like, it's bad. It was really bad. Like, they're black and their nails falling off because they don't have any proper winter stuff. and no family coming around to give them things. And I always end up giving what I have on my back or on my hands or, anything to help them. And lost friends and family from the cold, freezing temperatures and extreme heat, exhaustion from no water, sunburns, and falling asleep in the sun because it's not safe to sleep at night in the summer. I was walking around and I saw a trunk of a car. It was open, and this is downtown, and it was parked in a dark area. I was going to go closer and go shut it, but my friend that I was with, thank God for him, it was his birthday. He saved me. That truck ended up driving away with the truck bouncing open and closing, and it stopped and picked up a lady. The lady went in the car. That guy closed the trunk, and we kept walking around downtown in around that block real fast. And I seen them driving by, and there was another woman in the back seat, and I seen her hide her face, and she was driving at Portage in Maine, and then they went down north to Maine. And I was like, oh my God, I could have been stuck in that truck, and God knows where I would be right now if it wasn't for my friend stopping me, And like, I haven't seen him in so long either, and I don't know if he's okay. These are people. These are our friends. These are our family members. And yeah, we were all addicted to all these things, and sometimes there's reasons for it. You can't just blame the drug itself. It's human interaction as well. But it causes a lot of people to turn away from, It was a sad story. And so I sold actually my t-shirts, shoes, jackets, clothes, or even buy or trade shoes, jackets, and for my drug habit. I never sold myself. I never did any of that kind of stuff. But I had a lot of women friends that did, and they always talked to me about their problems, and I miss them. Some of them have beautiful children. They show me their pictures. And they're still stuck out there because they can't get the help, the right help, or someone to help them or listen to them. Because I just felt like we were all in the same boat, same story, same women problems. Like, where's our men? Men are, the men they end up meeting are just bad. But there are really strong, good men out there that are protecting their women, and I'm proud of them. It's bad what I saw. But I saw some really good things too. People helping each other, loving each other, sharing their things so someone can go by, feed them. I had an old friend of mine who was diabetic, and he was suffering that night, and I just happened to find a bag of oranges and a sandwich and a juice. And I thought of him right away. I don't know what made me think of him, but I found him right away down the street. It's like a block away. And this is all near 333 Maryland. This is Broadway in Sherbrooke. I found him, and he was already having diabetes, like he was going down, his sugar was going down. And I managed to find him in the middle of the night when I just decided to go for a walk. And he's all like, oh my, like he was so happy to see me. He was so happy to see me. And I saved him like 2-3 times, my old buddy. And this old man, I met his son before I met him, and he was shot in the face a year before I met him. So you see like how things go around, like, it's just amazing, and he took me under his wing and took care of me when I needed a place to rest, when he just said, just go to sleep, I'll watch it for a bit, you just go to sleep, and it was broad daylight, and I was so tired. And I had nowhere to go, and that's what I'm talking about. Like, his son was so nice too. Like that's what I mean about earth angels. Like he was really good. He didn't deserve that. And I'd be with family sometimes. I was robbed from time to time, but I had to learn things come and go and to learn to let it be. But you're mostly mad because it is your friends that are doing this, and when they take the drug, like your friends you find out your friend stole your stuff, and you want to get mad at them, but you can't because you're friend. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, you gotta let things go, I can't get attached to. This was the first couple of times I got robbed, and then I was carrying around my actual, my life around in a bag, and I had them with me for a long time, and then it was my friend, that old man, he robbed me the first time. So yeah, it gets really silly. But I got mad at him, but then he's still my friend, so, that's what I mean. Like, it was like a big, giant family around there, so I miss them, but they can't stop doing what they're doing, and I can't stop them either. They got to stop on their own, and I was ready to stop. So I came home, and unexpectedly, and I'd experienced the worst in my building. I had a home before I left, and 2 people got shot in the leg within a month. And the first one was in the basement near my door, and then the second one was upstairs on the 3rd floor, and my friend got shot in the leg. I literally had to go find crutches for him, and I did. I found 2 pairs, and that was really hard. I couldn't believe that it happened in my building. And I stayed down the street from 333. If you didn't know where I lived, I stayed at 414 Maryland Street. And yeah, it got really bad really fast, and I had to come home. And then went down, eventually came into the picture about 2 years ago. It made a mess of things, friendships. People were divided, couples broke up because they couldn't get along no more, and they couldn't take care of each other no more, and they couldn't get off or they couldn't get off that down. It's very potent stuff, and some of the, they'll fall asleep, and sometimes they never wake up. And that was the hard part, knowing that your friend never woke up. You know, it's just, wow, it was shocking. Like, almost every day I had bad news of my friends dying off. And that was pretty much my family, my street family, they call it. You know, and, like, that was hard. And so it's starting to look like meth. You can't tell anymore. And that's another reason why I quit, because that's even worse, even way worse. You can't tell until it's all gone, or you're asleep, and it's just not worth your life anymore. And I had a run-in with it once, and I was surrounded by my friends, and I had accidentally grabbed a pipe that looked like a meth pipe, but it had down, and I had a big hoot of that, and my first time, I could not move. This thing floored me, literally. I was stuck, glued to my chair. I was like, the gravity, I could feel gravity for the first time. Like, that's how it felt, like gravity just stuck to the floor. My eyes were open. I fought the sleepy part because I was so scared of the feeling of not being able to get up. I was non-mobile. I could not move my hands, my legs, my neck. I had to wait about 25 minutes. They said about half hour. And then I'll regain my body. And they were right. I eventually got myself back, and everybody was just mad at each other. Like, who put that there? Where'd this come from? And who's doing this here? Get out. And I was like, oh my God, like, nobody knew who, except for two women that just came out of nowhere, I guess. But I'm glad I survived that. That was scary. That's when I knew I'm never going to go on that stuff, I'm never going to touch that stuff. But I was still on meth. I was been on meth for 3 years, and I've been sober a month. And it's not worth going back. Not my life anyways. And I wrote a lot of stuff down. But one thing was when I was homeless, I was starving. Me and my friends were starving, and I thought, okay, how are we going to do this? How are we going to get by today? Like, you know. And it was the weekend. Nothing is open on the weekend. You can't really get anything to eat anywhere. And lo and behold, the Grand Chief is walking across the road, going to the Rexall. And I'm like, oh my God, it's Garrett City. And I'm like, I said, hello, how are you? And you remember me? And he's like, yeah, I remember you. And I told him about my situation. And he gave me a number to a woman. I'll find her number again soon. And he gave me $40, and I fed my friends, and I bought smokes, and went out a couple bucks, and that was our day for that day. Anyways, I bought Tim Hortons coffee and some donuts and sandwiches and some cigarettes and handed them all out. And that was a good day. That was a funny day. But I'm going to try and get a hold of this guy and thank him for that, for sure. But Drugs do a lot of things, but they also bring us together, like I miss them. I miss my friends, I want to somehow pay it all back. Well, I'm starting anyways. Someday I'll go back and help make a change in the future, maybe even here. For sure here. I don't want my kids to suffer like I did. And I don't want yours either to suffer like that. And I see it already. And thank you for listening. Bye.
Thank you very much, Tommy. So this is how life is with some of our people that live in Winnipeg, in Thompson, on the streets. And it's sometimes they have no choice, but there's help out there. Like there's hope at the end of that tunnel. So I hope, Tommy, you continue to reach out for that help. And for everybody else listening out there, there's hope at that end of that tunnel. And, there's help here in Norway House. And there's also lots of help in Winnipeg. It's just that people need to know where to reach out to. And people need to know who they can trust, that they can talk to, that someone that be willing to help them out. So, did you want to say something?
I just want to say thank you for sharing. I work with a lot of homeless people, and you're lucky that you came back. You're very, very lucky. Sometimes people never come back; they just stay away, and they never come back. My niece, she's been gone for 8 years, and my sister is trying to track her down, and she can't find her. But she does phone every 6 months or something. But she's on meth. And every 6 months she'll call her, sometimes a year. So she's still alive, but they can't find her. They don't know where she is, and she's on meth. So, it's really brave, to come back and to try to, put your life together. It's good, and there is support. There's people that are willing to help. And I know about the families, the homeless family, they call each other. They look after each other. I had the privilege of talking to a lot of them. And like I said, I respect everybody. Even in Thompson, a lot of the homeless people know me because sometimes I buy them sandwiches. To spend $10 is not a whole lot of money. So sometimes I buy them sandwiches, even coffee. And a lot of the homeless people in Thompson know me, and they're always happy to see me. Happy people. Like I said, I'm always willing to try to help people. So I really like to thank this lady for sharing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Norman. We had an uncle that lived on the street many, many years. And he was I happened to be in Winnipeg that time. And that morning when I was getting ready to go to my meeting, I was listening to the news in my room. And then there was this guy that was found froze to death in a bus shelter at Central Park in Winnipeg. My auntie lives in Matlock, so she happened to be home. She was off work that week. Then when I seen that the news that morning, I said to myself, oh my God, I hope that's not my Uncle Lawrence. Because every time I used to go to Winnipeg, I'd go look for him and take food to him, at least something to eat on the street. And he hung out behind or on the side of Questin. So that's where he used to hang out. And then all of a sudden I didn't see him, didn't find him. So I guess all that time he would still go on the streets, but he went home after at night. He ended up having an apartment on somewhere in North End. I can't remember which street that was. Anyways, he had an apartment there. And then that morning, about hearing the news, so that afternoon, that evening, the day after supper, I got a phone call. My auntie phoned me and she said, Lucy, can you come with me in the morning or maybe this evening to the hospital, she said. And I said, for what, Nita? She said, I want you to come with me. I don't want to go by myself. I have to go identify Lawrence's body. And I said, I knew it. I said, I seen that on the news this morning. So anyways, she phoned back later on, about not even an hour later, she phoned back and she said, never mind, we don't have to go. She said they have already identified his body. So I guess he was in and out of hospitals, like, in Winnipeg. And that's how they had identified his body, with his tattoos. He had tattoos all over his body. And that's how they identified they identified him. So a lot of our people, some of them, they're not that lucky to come back. Some of them are not lucky to live, a normal life. Some of them, like Tammy shared, they're a family out there on the streets in the world. And some of our young girls who are still missing, that were missing here in Norway House, we don't know where they are. Even our men, some of our men. And that's not all. We do have a lot of violence happening because of the drugs and the alcohol. And we have some men and women that are violently being murdered. And some of them are missing some body parts. Some of them don't come home with a full body in a box. See, the last two young girls that, well, I guess not the last two, but a few years ago, there was only parts of their bodies that came back. The rest is out there somewhere. Women, So, like, we pray, and for us to pray for everybody, take care of each other, we have to help one another. And that's why I help a lot of people. Like, sometimes my kids tell me, why are you helping so-and-so, why are you helping? Like, they don't know yet, but they're starting to see it already. Like, my youngest one didn't know. She was the one that was always angry when I helped people. So now she knows, because she was sick, and she's been sick. And I think that's what, when I was thinking about that, when I came back from Winnipeg the last time I went, I noticed that there was a difference about her. She said, Mom, there's leftover food that, there's food here, she said, in the fridge that I'm not going to use. Can you go give it to someone else? someone that needs it to do. So I had to clean out her fridge, and she stays at 333 apartment. I was thinking about that, and I said, I guess something made her change her way of thinking, which is a good thing. I didn't have to tell her. I didn't have to show her. She learned that on her own while she was in the hospital, I guess, and being sick all these years. But with that, with the sharing and that, it helps you grow as an individual. It empowers you. I hope you continue sharing, Tammy, because you can help a lot of young women and a lot of young people. In the meantime, if you need help, we're there. We're at the office. You can come in, and I know you did already, but you can keep coming. So with that, I want to thank everybody for being here today. If there anybody else want to share? No? Okay. So I guess we'll end the day. So I want to, before I end the day, Whiskey Jack Treatment Center donated $500 worth of stuff as prizes, so let's give them a big hand. And we'll do the draws tomorrow for the prizes some of the prizes that Whiskey Jack Treatment Center donated. And on Friday, Friday draws, the draws for Friday, for the main draws are a meat pack for sure, and 2 return tickets to Winnipeg. So those were donated as well. So we were looking for a third prize, right, Florence? So we don't know what the third prize is. I guess it's a surprise. So we'll find out on Friday. So with that, I want to thank everybody for being here, and see you again tomorrow. Bring in a friend again tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday, day 4. So see you tomorrow, and thank you for being here today.